Hitchhiker encounters.
Can I get a ride?
No.
These stories will make you want to stay inside your house forever, so...
Let's go.
Hey! The Tool Man. He says, when I was 12 or 13, my dad and I were on our way home from somewhere a few hours away, and he decided it would be a good idea to pick up the hitchhiker on the side of the interstate holding a cardboard sign with the name of our town on it.
Okay.
If I'm your wife, I divorce you if you let a hitchhiker into the car with our 12-year-old son.
Well,
I'm leaving you.
did the hitchhiker have a good haircut or not?
You know what? What did his shoes look like?
Was it a skinwalker?
No, we can't get into that yet, Keon.
That's the first thing that comes up to mind with hitchhikers.
As soon as we picked him up, it was obvious that he was homeless. He smelled terribly, and when we asked him where he lived, he just said to be dropped off downtown. His name was Steps.
What?
Is that because it's what he's taking a lot of those every day?
Or is this like an episode from a regular show?
This is about to start like an entire adventure. So, his name was Steps. He turned out to be a very nice and down-to-earth guy. He told us about hitchhiking all over the country and what he had seen. Before we dropped him off, we bought him some McDonald's and then never saw him again.
Aw.
My dad's first words when he got out of the car were, "Don't tell your mother about this."
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, another person replies, "It's not really a good dad story unless those words are spoken."
I have 2 hitchhiker stories I will share later on.
Yeah, do you have any don't tell your mom about this stories?
Too many.
See, like, they turn out to don't tell your mom, and then my mom figures them out.
My mom,
so.
yeah, all moms at the end will figure it out.
We're grown men.
Not whenever I did these things. I was not independent yet.
Right, but now that you are independent and you're a grown man, you can let it out and it's like you'll be all right. I'm trying to think of
There's
mine.
still a few things I can't tell my mom. Anyways, well, I'll get to my hitchhiker story midway through this.
User T that freak. My father was working nights at an airport and I was his transportation back and forth. One night he calls me to show up early. As I pull up, my father is standing next to a small man with several boxes.
Oh?
My father instructs me to load up the boxes. They are cold. They are wet.
What?
Son, you gotta get to the airport early. I got cold, wet boxes from a small man to load into the back of this car.
No.
The man gets inside, and my father tells me to drive to downtown. It was a quiet ride. We get near downtown, and my father directs me towards the Greyhound bus station. I help unload the boxes, and I wander around as my father talks a little bit with the man. Eventually, the man boards a bus, and my father comes back to the car with one of the boxes. I ask, who was that? And what's in the boxes?
What's in the boxes?
Thinking like fish.
And my father just smiled. Yeah, I'm thinking black market shrimp. Yeah, I think this is black market Cantonese shrimp.
Because whatever's in these boxes, your dad got off of work early, thus meaning he got paid to transport this guy to wherever. Enough where he got off of work early.
That's true. Or whatever's in these boxes is so good, he's like, I'm going to risk my job for these cold, wet boxes. I don't even care. I'm not telling the boss I'm leaving. I got cold, wet boxes.
What if it was just like a little prank, you know? What if it was just like...
No, it's not a prank. Come on.
It
What
is
if it was just
April
like
Fool's
what if it was
Day.
just like an empty box?
Oh my god. Okay. What is it? Okay.
We eventually get home, and he brings in the box. My mother joins us as we await for my father's revelation. We all look over his shoulder as he pulls out fish. Cold, frozen salmon, to be specific.
No!
Yep. It was a fish. It was fish, man.
Knew it!
Black market underground fish.
On the ground or underwater? Take an underground fish.
Underground
ASAP.
fish.
Breathe dirt. It's like sandworms. Anyways,
It's like a cave fish, you know?
well, that's underground.
Think of all the stuff in caves we haven't found.
I don't want to think about that. Think about all the people.
Those are those underground fish
Hey,
that you're talking about.
Think about the ocean, too. What we haven't discovered in that.
Yeah, whatever. What? Oh, more ocean?
Think about space. We haven't discovered space yet.
Did you know that there's like... Oh, never mind.
Good job. I'm proud of you.
Good job.
Apparently, the man was a fisherman that had been working in Alaska. He had saved up to transport himself and his cargo, but couldn't complete his goal of selling off some of his fish to get enough for cab fare to downtown, my father, always a generous man, had offered to give the man a ride for free. As a thank you for the ride and for even giving him the time of day to ask if he needed anything, he gave my father a giant box of frozen salmon. We ate salmon for a while.
But you can do so much with salmon. You can bake it. You can fry it.
I gotta change my tagline to this. I don't think these stories are gonna make you want to not leave your house. I think they're gonna make you want to pick up strangers because they might have boxes of frozen salmon for you to nourish your family with.
That sounds amazing. Wait, where did he put the salmon though?
In the freezer.
We just had salmon for a while.
We ate salmon for a while.
That's all you got out of this, bro? I'm sorry. We're not in like the hunter-gatherer times. We can get salmon in bulk at Costco.
Yeah, but is it that fresh Alaskan,
fresh, yeah.
still has the worms in it salmon?
I'll do
I
that.
don't think so.
I bet you $10 that Alaskan salmon was super red. Super good.
Yeah, that's not like the farm one. That's like the legit, like you said, worms in it still.
Dang, where was he even going with all this fish? I have more questions than I have answers.
Oh, he's going downtown. He's going downtown with that fish.
Well, I guess.
All right, Right Diazd says, I've picked up numerous hitchhikers, but one in particular stands out. His name was Garth. Girth. Girth was a heck of a dude with a heck of a story.
With a heck of a girth.
A girthy story.
Oh, boy.
This is the encounter between my friends and Garth. After graduating high school, myself and 4 friends decided to take a long road trip over the summer, and Glacier National Park was our mecca for the trip. We found ourselves camping in the middle of nowhere in the woods of northwest Montana, some 25 miles north of Missoula.
Shout out Glacier. Beautiful spot.
Shout out the woods of Montana, 25 miles northwest of Missoula.
Yeah. Shout out to them Huckleberry.
Huckleberry. We camped illegally and got a little intoxicated and pretty much stayed up all night.
And zooted.
You know, intoxicated. Zootoxicated. Zootopia 3, Zootoxicated.
Oh, God. Don't even talk to me about Zootopia 3.
Oh, I just thought of a plot line for Zootopia 3. I don't even want to talk about it.
Okay. Don't talk about it.
You're talking about it.
In my head, I am. Stop it.
It's like a warfare happening, and we're just seeing
We're
the
just watching it go
external results of it.
Okay. In the morning, I woke up in the driver's seat of my car to see some dude walking by in the road, which is 40 yards away from our campsite. The guy walking couldn't see us just passing by, but I could see him. I was still half wasted, so I decided to yell at him, not even thinking that it could be the owner of the land that we were illegally camping.
Why would you yell at a random stranger?
Bro, zooted.
Because he just woke up and he's dumb.
You went, I wake up, see man. First thing I do, yell at man.
He go, hey! And the guy goes, he did a 180 and stared straight at me and began walking towards me. He had a single backpack, a big tree limb for a walking stick, and looked exhausted and hungry. He looked like the Big Lebowski mixed with Saul from Pineapple Express, but acted like someone who had just had their butt mentally and physically.
Oh, no.
He looked like someone had sucked his soul out of him.
He might have sold
Not
it.
in the cool way.
Might have just... Not in the good way. He might have just sold it. I don't know. That's what people do in the middle of the woods sometimes.
Sometimes people in the middle of the woods, you just got to leave them alone. And by sometimes, I mean like pretty much every time ever.
Not gonna lie. If I see someone in the middle of the woods, I'm probably gonna talk to him.
You're the first person to make a friend with a skinwalker. You're like, well, that guy looks nice.
I'd give him a meal and pray with him.
And then everything's gone.
And then he would eat your face off your body.
Guys, what if we did a stream?
No.
Where we eat each other's faces.
No. Where we find the walkers.
No. I'm cool with my ghosties and ghoulies.
Anyways,
that.
what's up with Big Lebowski guy here?
Oh, my friends had heard me yelling for him, so they had stirred awake to find, to their surprise, Garth sitting in one of our lawn chairs eating our stale Doritos like he hadn't eaten anything in days. We would later learn that that was actually true.
Oh my gosh.
It was about 10 a.m. by the time we decided to leave the campsite and head back to Missoula to find food. Garth hopped in the car and began to tell his story of how he ended up in the middle of nowhere, Montana. He sat shotgun and talked while my friend sat behind him, ready for Garth to try to, unalive us or do something crazy. The story that Garth told us was effing crazy. It basically went something like this.
Oh, gosh.
Some dude he met in Missoula promised him some work on his land. Apparently, he said, he's looking for work. Wait, he's looking for work.
Sorry, I thought it was like...
It's the hobo man. What kind of work?
I don't know. It just sounds like a scam off the top of it. Come to my land and I'll promise you work. It's like...
Come do work on my land.
What's his name? Joseph Smith? I don't know.
No.
Did he promise you anything else?
Did he say he had gold tablets that only he can see and read?
Oh, boy. Anyways.
Apparently, the guy bought some land and needed some trees and brush cleared so he could start building a house. He said he would let Garth stay on his land for the night and meet him there in the morning with some tools and some food so they could work all day to clear this brush.
That's a lot of work, by the way.
That is a lot of work. Well, one day went by, and then another, and another. The guy never showed up, and Garth was sitting on this guy's land for 5 effing days with no food or shelter. He luckily had a stream of water on his land that Garth drank to keep hydrated, but catching food was next to impossible. He said he could hear coyotes very close to him at night, and one morning he woke up to a bull moose 30 yards away from him, snorting and stomping its hooves on the ground, ready to charge.
No. Bro, do you know how big those are?
Yes. There's actually one right behind you. No, like straight up.
I love this guy.
There he is.
Wilson Jr.
Now, you swerve around the moose.
Dude, don't.
You don't. That's why, yeah.
Dude, you
you
can't
swerve around the moose.
You can't tell that advice to people. They're dead.
Yeah. No, these are for the living people. The moose
We can't get
cannot.
into that.
You
We can't
cannot
get
make
into that.
contact with your vehicle.
Oh my god.
You must swerve around the moose.
That was probably top 10, one of the most insensitive things.
Are we going to act like people don't pass away from a skill issue all the time? That happens all the time. Increase your skills and you won't pass away.
You were in the car. You don't know what happened.
A skill issue happened.
If you were in that, dude, Dakota, no joke. If you were in that scenario, you had 15 seconds before everything happened.
I had 15 seconds?
I don't know if you would be able to make the right choice.
Rewrite the Declaration of Independence in 15 seconds. You give me 15 seconds to swerve around a moose?
You don't even know what the second sentence of the Declaration of Independence is.
You can't even fill a cup of water with your blindfold on.
Ye for all ye people.
Anyways, it was a tough thing to be in. Anyway,
Garth has the skills. Garth ran up a tree and stayed there for the rest of the day.
Yeah, because
Oh
he didn't
my
have a car.
Because a moose can't climb a tree.
in fact, groundhogs can.
Seems deceptive.
I saw one happen. It was weird.
Sure it wasn't like a
So
squirrel?
they probably just found them in the ground before they saw them in the tree.
No.
They could have been tree hogs.
Our dog saw the groundhog, ran him up a tree, and then we had to pew it out of the tree.
Oh, why?
Because it kept eating our green beans.
Oh, yeah, that's a capital punishment type offense. Anyway, he said he didn't want to leave the land because he had no idea where he was, and he was hoping that the guy would show up to take him back to town. It wasn't until this particular morning that he said he was so hungry and cold that he thought he was going to pass away if he didn't start walking somewhere. Garth said he started following a logging road with the hope it would lead him somewhere. He had been walking all night with no signs of anything. He actually thought he was walking in circles. He said that the coyotes were howling and he was the most scared he had ever been in his life. We were the first sign of people he had seen in almost 6 days. After he told us this story, we said we wanted to buy him a lunch and some beer and Coke. He immediately declined. He seemed embarrassed by the situation, especially because some 18-year-olds were going to buy him this stuff. We understood where he was coming from, but this guy just had 6 days of a nightmare in the woods, and he deserved a hot meal. He finally said he would eat lunch with us, so we took him to a Chinese buffet where he ate down 4 fat plates like a boss.
Dude, that's awesome.
The humility on this guy where he's like, no, I can't have you teenagers buy me anything right now. Like, I'm good. I haven't had food in 6 days, but I'm good. And they took him to a Chinese buffet.
I kind of want to go to one now.
Me too.
Someone's giving bad moose advice in the comments.
Are they in the comments or in this video? Why can we not? We can never get away from this. Just keep going. You're doing great, honey.
A bull moose is larger than an SUV.
Just keep reading.
I'm trying to save lives, guys.
You told us to eat salmonella.
Yeah, another way I was trying to save lives. After lunch, he asked us to take him to the homeless shelter in town so he could get a shower and get a bed for the night. We agreed and took him across town to drop him off. The car ride over was quiet, mainly because Garth dozed off, probably from exhaustion and 4 plates of Chinese food.
That'd make me knock out.
He was still sleeping when we got to the homeless shelter. We woke him up, and he thanked us a million times and stumbled into the shelter. My friends and I were floored by his story. We didn't say much as we hit the road north to Glacier Park until we noticed something on the floor by the front seat. It was his effing backpack.
Oh, no.
We were 40 miles north of town and didn't even think about what to do. We pulled over and turned around to take his backpack to him at the shelter. We contemplated opening it for a good 15 minutes. We thought it would be wrong and that we wouldn't want someone to do that to our backpack. But our curiosity got the best of us and we decided to open it. Garth was too epic to not find out what he had in there to aid in his wilderness adventure.
Honestly, fair. I'd want to know what's in the backpack.
I would also need to know what's in the backpack.
What would you guys do? 1, open, 2, not. Let us know.
Is it just rocks?
Eating rocks, half-eaten rocks.
We joked about what would be in there. A bloody knife, a head, some sort of body part. What we found was truly unbelievable. We found out that Garth was bipolar and diabetic based on his medications. He had some oral glucose gel to combat his low blood sugar, a blood sugar machine, and Zoloft, an antidepressant. It blew my mind that this man, a diabetic, would even think about staying in the woods for this long while knowing he was a diabetic. We also found a notebook that had some sketches and writings, mainly about his travels around the Pacific Northwest. I wanted to read more, but we had reached the shelter to return his pack. Garth was an effing man if I had ever met one. We thought he could use a little help, so we put $100 in his pack before we gave it back to him. He was inside sitting at a table when we arrived with his pack. I held out the pack and just said, "I think you forgot something, man." He stood up and ran over to me, grabbed it, and then gave me a huge bear hug and started crying. He told me while he was hugging me that he thought that he had just lost everything he owned after we dropped him off. All right, so maybe all these stories are like actually do help hitchhikers because
They're
you
people.
know, yeah,
Because the ones where, like, don't help them, they're dead.
yeah. To be fair, we can't probably ever hear the stories of why you shouldn't help the hitchhiker because they help the hitchhiker. Anyway, it was weird, but I felt like I had to hug him back, so I did.
Yeah, that was a human connection, bro. Come on.
I was like, ew, cringe. This guy's hugging me.
Oh.
He's crying. I guess I'll hug him back. He followed us back out to our car and thanked us again and offered us a cup of coffee. We declined and said we had to be on our way to get there before dark. He understood and even offered to take a look at our car's oil and other stuff before we headed out. We said no. We said goodbye and drove off to the corner. We were still at a traffic light and I could still see him in the rearview mirror, probably 50 or 60 yards behind us. He knelt down to dig through his backpack. He took out his glucometer. Glucometer?
Yeah. Oil.
Like
He took out his glucometer.
No,
Oral
it's Gluck. It's Gluck.
Oral gel cream.
For sale.
Glucometer.
He took out his glucometer, his notebook, and then the $100 we had put in there. He saw it and started running after us, either to thank us or to try to give it back. The light turned green, and we drove off before he got to us. I stood out the car window, gave him a wave and a peace sign. He responded with a salute and the biggest smile I've ever seen. We drove off, and we never saw him again. This was our encounter with Garth, the world's manliest hobo. Wherever you are, Garth, Godspeed, my good man.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
Dude,
Yeah, cool, man. Cool, man. Why
That-
didn't you take him to Glacier with you?
that is epic. Garth had to get on with his own life.
Garth had his own mission.
I had put my phone number in there so I could keep in contact with him over the years.
If I'm Garth, I'm hunting that guy down that abandoned me in the woods for 5 days. I'm hunting that guy down, and I'm going to give him a taste of my glucometer, you know?
All right. Wow. Well then.
I'd rather hear you Zootopia 3.
What's this next hitchhiker story?
Oh, we've got another one. Riley, do you want to read it?
Sure.
Yay!
Deleted says, spoke with a tourist I met here in Australia, and he was telling me of two backpackers who decided to travel up north separately, but by hitchhiking.
Like in Australia?
Yeah.
Because Australia is like you have to travel around the coast, basically, because if you go through the middle, it's just nothing.
Carnage.
Nothing but hostility and what do they call it out there?
dangerous animals.
The bush.
I don't even know what the layout of Australia is. They would be picked up by random cars and trucks, and sometimes one would make progress hundreds of kilometers ahead of the other, while at other times they discovered they were in the same town. There was even an instance where one had been given a ride in a semi-trailer and found his friend walking along a remote highway. Reunited. That's sweet. That's kind of cool.
Like, hey, wait, stop. That's my buddy.
I had a friend in high school where I think she was traveling the Pacific Northwest region, like Oregon, Washington, like that area. And she would hitchhike because that was like super hitchhike friendly. She would like be able to like do stuff. But it was her. She's like 5'3", white girl, curly hair, and her 6'3" Australian boyfriend.
That'll make it a lot safer.
And the way that they could like hitchhike is that she would be on the side of the road, do this, and then talk to the driver, be like, hey, it's me and my boyfriend, but the boyfriend would be in the woods because they don't want to, he'd scare people off.
Yeah.
So be like, can he come with us? You know, we're college students at UNC. We're just here hitchhiking, blah, 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 blah. And that's how they got around. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Nothing would freak me out more if like how tall was he? 6'7"?
6'3".
To me, it's a giant.
Yeah.
If I see a man crawling out of the woods in pitch black dark saying, hey, yeah, I'm the boyfriend.
Well, that's why, like,
Her boyfriend's Bigfoot.
he is. Great guy. All right. Anyways, Develop says, today you, tomorrow me. Just
What?
makes my heart sing. Probably no one will read my story in a thread this size, but I feel like telling it anyways. Great hook. All right. Anyways, here's the real story. I was driving home for Christmas from college once, and about 30 miles from home, at an intersection on the outskirts of a midtown-sized city. Sorry. At a intersection.
Mid-sized
Damn,
town
I
city.
really thought we were going to let that one breeze past. Midtown-sized city. Kind of makes sense the more you say it.
Yeah, thank you.
Like,
I
it's a middling town-sized. It's like a town-sized city.
Oh, man. I saw what was unmistakably a body. It lay some distance from the road in a snowy field, motionless. I pulled over, walked to the edge of the road, and called out, hey, are you okay? Not expecting an answer, but I had no idea what to do. I had no cell phone, and it was quiet and freezing. I was alone.
You have the worst survival instincts of anyone I have ever heard.
As soon as I called out, a head popped up out of the snow. A dude dressed in a soldier uniform carrying a big rucksack starts running at me, full tilt, yelling, ride, ride, ride.
Yeah, and what did you do? Did you go? I would have done that.
I was thoroughly freaked out, but told him, of course. And he got in.
OP. You know what? Well, we know that OP's still alive because they wrote this.
I mean,
Oh,
there
God.
is an interesting conversation to be had about the moral responsibility of one person when they see, I don't know, another person face down in the snow in the middle of the night? Was it the night or it had to have been the day? Had to have been the day because you wouldn't have been able to see him.
We don't have any time of day. I think they would have added night if it was at night. So I cranked the heat, trying to warm him up as we started down the road while he shook and shook. It turned out he was heading for my tiny hometown where his wife was living, but couldn't find any bus or train routes that directly connected to it. It's really a bum in the road. He'd been out there in the cold for quite a while before getting too cold and tired to even stand. A uniformed soldier couldn't get anyone to stop and give him a ride in the winter on a rural road. I also felt ashamed because I was scared of him too. I'd been in sketchy situations with dudes, and every time I felt so stupid, and I was driving alone with a man who'd been a corpse in my mind just moments before. I started to hear a true crimes narrator in my head saying her family was waiting for her by the Christmas tree, but she was never seen again.
Well, I gotta say, if I'm freezing to death on the side of the road and someone stops, I would also go, ride, help.
It's called trusting your instincts, OP. Blah, 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 blah. I was so scared and hating myself for being so stupid, and also hating myself for being scared just like every other knucklehead who'd left him there to freeze. I started leaning heavier and heavier on the gas pedal, and then, out of nowhere, there were police lights in my rear view mirror pulling me over. I was dumb enough to be relieved until the cop shined his light on us, made a face, and then shined his light on the soldier bag where an open container of Jack sat clearly visible. I explained in my scared little white girl way I didn't know it was there and that I didn't know the man in my car, but he's been freezing by the road and I was just trying to get us both home. And that effer went and wrote me a ticket.
I guarantee he's gonna like, well, all right, that's reasonable. I'm gonna cut you some slack and give you a ticket.
I just did your job, buddy. I saved this guy's life.
Honestly.
That was your job, actually. I did your job. No good deed goes unpunished.
Honestly. He then drove off in the opposite direction instead of taking the soldier home himself or following us on the desolate road to be sure everything was okay. My internal monologue started right up again. At 4:53 p.m., her vehicle was pulled over by Officer Wienerhead, who observed a large male in her passenger seat. Wienerhead was the last person to ever see her alive. Now he's being sued by the grieving family for $1 billion. Come on, OP. $1 billion.
I'm still just mad at this cop. This is a terrible cop.
It's Christmas. He doesn't want to do stuff.
Except to give tickets.
It's like
Yeah, right.
just a friendly reminder.
Yeah.
Not to indiscriminately hate on all police officers, but just a friendly reminder that it's like all you need is a GED. Yeah, it is not a rigorous, difficult process to become a police officer.
Then I looked at the soldier's face, and it was sadder and more scared than mine. Soon enough, we get to my little town, and I drive him to his wife's house. We've barely spoken, but he takes out a fistful of cash and insists on paying for the ticket. I started crying, but he wouldn't let me give it back. When I got to my family and tried to tell them what happened, they gave me that all too familiar, you're too stupid to live look, because obviously I narrowly escaped certain passing by picking up a man who would have certainly been passed away otherwise. For the life of me, I didn't know why I told them. I knew better. I still stop when someone needs help, and I've been lucky that people always stopped for me. I live 2,500 miles from my hometown, now in Oregon, as a matter of fact, where Roner just became my favorite neighbor. I don't know. I don't go back for holidays. I like Christmases a lot more these days.
Okay.
What was that? Oh my God.
I don't know. I have no idea. Was Roner about...
I feel like she just wanted to say
Was
something
that like
else.
co-Roner? I don't know. That cop should have taken that guy home.
Sorry, the surname Roner has Swiss-German origins, primarily functioning as a topographic or occupational name for someone living near or working with reeds or in an area of fallen trees.
Roner.
Wow.
Hello,
That
I am Roner. I am svensk Roner.
was super good. Nappy Doo says, my roommate, a straight-laced, straight-A girl, and I were at the college grocery one night around 1 a.m. buying food stuff when a very skinny woman approached me.
Sorry, my favorite thing, food stuff.
Better than butt stuff. She said she and her husband had their car repossessed in the lot, and I will give them a ride to their apartment, about 3 miles away. So I tell them, sure, let me finish up, and I'll give them a ride.
Well, I guess she looked nice enough, huh?
Oh boy.
It's usually just the, can you buy my gas, not the, my entire car was repossessed in the parking lot right now, so I need a ride back to my apartment, which, by the way, your apartment 3 miles away, you can walk 3 miles.
My roommate was having none of it and was very upset. I told her, it's okay, crap happens to people. Sometimes you should just be nice. So we finished at the checkout, get the bags and the people, go to my car, and drive them to the apartment. They get out, no harm's done. About 2 weeks later, I'm back at the grocery store with my roommate, and the same woman comes up to me with a different man. Same story, car repossessed. I tell them, sure, I'll give you a ride, just don't lie. He's not your husband. You used this line on me a couple of weeks ago. I don't know what he is. I don't want to know, but sure, I'll do it.
Why would you do that?
Face palming right now.
Why would you still do that? You should have been like, oh, did you get a new husband? Do you not remember me? You did this 2 weeks ago.
She was taken aback and seems surprised, but accepts anyway. Again, roommate is pissed. Again, no incidents. I suspect the woman was a street worker, and these were her Johns, but who am I to
You
judge?
should say, I suspect this woman participated in the oldest profession, and these were her Johns.
As long as they don't hurt anyone, I don't care. OP, you were helping illegal activity.
You were an accessory in solicitation for Sostitution.
What? OP.
Hey, you know what?
What the hell?
How does the moral abacus like balance out on that one? It's like, yeah, you're helping a stranger commit crimes that maybe shouldn't be crimes and should just be more heavily regulated, considering it's just going to happen anyway. But I don't know.
She's using you. Come on.
I just hope she's using protection.
Golly. Deleted says, on my road trip to LA from New Jersey,
Wow, is this Carly?
I happened upon a hitchhiker. He was old, maybe 60, and walking in the middle of the desert in Texas. He had no backpack, no nothing, just clothes on his back. I passed him at first, but quickly slammed on my brakes and put it in reverse.
Put it in reverse, Terry.
I figured an elderly man walking in the middle of the desert isn't looking like he's going to hurt anyone. Once I pulled over, he began jogging towards my car, but with a limp. I could already see the damage the sun has done to his unprotected face through my rear view mirror. Once he got in the car, he immediately thanked me. You could hear the desperation and dehydration in his voice. I gave him a bottle of water, and then he asked where he was headed. Before I could finish my sentence, he had finished the water. He said he was headed to Phoenix to go back home to his wife. He had this deep southern accent akin to Boomhauer from King of the Hill.
You
got
talking
this?
about like, dang old man, I'm trying to walk down the dead man. I'm gonna get back on gotta see my wife down on Phoenix, man.
I got to go on down to Phoenix to see my wife, and the horse wiped me off, and I've been walking on the sun all day.
The key with Boomhauer is you should only be able to understand about 40% of anything he says.
And then,
Damn
yeah,
it, did I not?
yeah, and then
It's a
Hank-
little too
Yeah,
clear.
yeah,
It's like
that's okay.
Boomhauer went to college. Actually, I think Boomhauer did go to college canonically. I think he
and
was
then
like a football
Hank Hill says,
athlete.
Peggy, propane, and then Bobby.
Propane.
So, since I had family in Gilbert, I was heading that way to begin with. I figured, what's the big deal? It was only going to be an extra hour driving.
Wait, are there no more questions of like, okay, so you wanted to get to Phoenix. Why did you do it this way? Why is your wife in Phoenix and you're walking across the inhospitable desert?
Yeah, how'd we get here?
What are we doing?
First, he was very short with answering the questions that I had asked. Not that it was rude, just exhausted. Then asked how many miles he'd walked since his last ride. He replied, with relief, only 60, as if expecting to walk 200. I had a McDonald's gift card that my girlfriend sent me for the road trip, which I didn't consider using because McDonald's is a poopy factory, and I wanted to make a good time without having to crap on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere every 5 minutes. But this guy looked like he hadn't had a meal in a day or two.
I'm not going to lie. If McDonald's does that to you, that is a personal problem of yourself.
Nope. McDonald's does that to me. I will
Then
not
you
eat
got
them.
to go to your gastroenterologist because that shouldn't give you the runs every time you eat it.
Okay, here's the thing. In America, if I eat it, like, I have stomach issues. If I go to Indonesia or Paris and eat it, totally fine. It's American food.
Well, I guess I'm just built like a real American then. Because I can eat that all day long and it won't give me no problem, man.
Good. I guess good for you. I don't
But
know.
I'll tell you what, that KFC in Indonesia,
Very good. They knew how to get it really crispy.
damn.
I pulled into the drive-thru of the next one I came across and asked him to order anything he liked. He seemed to become more chippier and happy once the cheese from the McDonald's burger hit him, and I must confess to the purchase of some French fries myself. After that McDonald's stop, there were no more rest stops or gas stations for miles. About 2 hours into the journey through the desert, my car began to stall out. Looking at my quarter of a tank of gas, I couldn't figure out why my car was acting up. For my road trip, I had my uncle, mechanic his whole life, look over my car, fix everything that needed to be fixed, change the fluids, the whole nine. I naturally had a GPS and ran a search for the nearest gas station, which was 22 miles away. Trust me when I say my car sounded like it couldn't take even one more mile. Oh boy, I immediately started going in the direction of the suggested route. Keep in mind, there's nothing but desert and mountains as far as the eye can see. My car kept on putt-putting its way like those sickly cars you would see in cartoons.
Which, you know what? I've never seen that. So what the hell are you talking about?
What car are you driving?
What sickly cartoon cars are you referencing?
At that moment, I realized why getting cheap gas doesn't pay off in the long run. Clearly, it was a bad mix, and my car was trying to burn something that it couldn't.
I'm sorry. Did you put diesel into your car? Is that what you just called the? Because I remember there was a time period where diesel was way cheaper than normal gasoline.
Oh gosh, and people putting diesel in their car?
Did this person put diesel in their car because they didn't know that you can't do that?
We're about to see. After stalling several times, I eventually reached my destination, and it was the smallest effing town I had ever seen. The gas station was there like the GPS said. Well, at least from what was ever left of it from the fire that hit it maybe 5 months prior.
Did you set that fire? Because you can't eyeball how many months have gone by since a structure fire.
He probably figured it out once he got there. He's like, oh yeah, fire hit this place.
The hitchhiker was like, oh, that's right. I was here about 5 months ago, wasn't I?
All while this was going on, my guest just kind of sat there quietly, probably too nervous to say anything in fear of possibly adding to my frustration. I stall again. I get out and walk a little bit, taking my keys, of course. I don't walk more than 50 feet before finding the first sign of life. A man watering his pavement. Yes, he was watering his pavement. Again, small effing town in the middle of nowhere.
He's just like, I like watching the ground change colors.
This is my grass.
I like watching the pavement turn from light gray to dark gray.
I like the smell.
I asked him if the gas station that burnt down was the only one in town, and to my delight, it was not. There was one more about a mile into town. I got in my car, and with a putter, my engine turned over, and it got me the rest of the way. Once I got to the gas station, I loaded on some snacks and drinks, knowing I was still had about 10 hours of driving ahead of me. By the way, at the checkout in the gas station bar grocery store, I asked the attendant how many people live in this town. He said 315. He knew the exact effing number. They had a population smaller than my high school. Anyway, having that old man hitchhiker in the car while all that was going on made it seem much more like an adventure. It gave me a little more motivation to solve the problem rather than just calling AAA. Don't really know why, just did. From that point on, it was smooth sailing. Probably because you put gas in it instead of diesel.
Well, I mean, like, even if you put diesel in the car, it wouldn't run. So it's like, but if you already had gas in your car and then you put diesel on top of it, I don't know what would happen. I truly don't know. Cheap gas isn't going to ruin your car unless you're driving a freaking Bugatti.
Yeah, this is weird. Once we got back on the road, we began the awkward dance of finding a common musical interest. That way we can tolerate the next 10 hours until we reach Phoenix and mainly enjoy music like Justice and
Kavinsky.
On these long road trips. Electro keeps me awake. Lo and behold, there was one group we shared a common affinity for. Leave It to the Beatles. With there only being about 2 hours left until we reached Phoenix, I began to pry about why an elderly man such as himself was hitchhiking in the first place.
You did 8 hours of driving, maybe more, and now you ask him? You didn't have the small talk the rest of the way?
Yeah, right?
Your technique is so strange here.
I don't like how you're moving here, OP.
I still need more information about how this guy thought he was going to walk, 7 days through the desert to Phoenix, Arizona? I need to know all of that rationale.
Yeah.
I need to know his logic before I drive him 50 feet because this guy might be absolutely insane.
Well, we're about to find out. I'd walk 7 days in the desert to see my wife.
No, you wouldn't. You'd walk a day and a half and you'd die.
Not if I was prepared.
Well, exactly. And that's the other thing. Why are we not prepared? We don't have a hat? You're resolved to walk to Phoenix? You don't have a hat? What? I'm freaked out.
So, turns out he was younger than he looked. He was 53. But man, his story was sad. Having lost his job of 20 years as a janitor, he moved to Tennessee to work at a construction site at his age. I guess maybe due to the budget cuts, about a third of their workers got craps canned only after about 7 months after the start of the project, probably to be replaced by cheaper labor. In these economic times, I bet people would work for just about any wage. He had no other choice but to head back home. With his last check in hand, he headed to the back to cash it in order to fund his trip back home. With a good chunk of change in his pocket, he purchased a Greyhound bus ticket and gave a call to his wife to tell her he's on his way. Once the bus started to board, tragedy struck. 2 guys jumped him, probably having seen his cash while he was paying for his ticket. He put up a fight, defending, of course, the only money he had left to his name, only to get stabbed twice in the chest.
What?
He had to spend about a month in the hospital to recover without having any health insurance whatsoever. He racked a bill, I am sure, in the thousands. Side note, I raged when he told me about the fat effing security guard at the Greyhound that witnessed all of this without doing a gosh darn thing. He showed me the scars on his chest. The hospital kicked him out as soon as they could because F the poor and the destitute. America rules. His wife was barely making the rent, so he decided instead of burdening her with the cost of having to buy him a bus ticket, he decided to hitch it. From Tennessee to Texas, only truckers picked him up and dropped him off at whatever rest stop they stumbled upon before diverting in a direction other than west. I was the only passenger vehicle to stop for him. That is crazy.
Okay, so everything's making a lot more sense now. Why did you move to Tennessee when your wife's in Phoenix and
he
she
needed to
can't pay
work.
the rent? I'm confused.
He needed to
man.
work.
You're working as a You can't find a job as a janitor in Phoenix?
He probably just looked up a really good gig that
Yeah.
was paying, and then he's like, I can do that.
Went to move to Tennessee.
How good does the janitorial gig in Tennessee pay compared to the one in Phoenix?
Depends on what it is. He probably got paid like $30, $35 an hour.
Maybe he was cleaning up like a nuclear facility of some kind.
I'm glad that I picked up a hitchhiker. It made me feel good doing something for a complete stranger in need for no reason other than for the common good. Just a reminder, there are effed up people in this world. People who will do bad things in the face of charity and kindness. But there are also people who are just down on their luck looking for a ride home, wherever that may be. And for those of you who are wondering, his name was Walter.
Walter.
Well, then that was super sad. Good for you, OP.
Look, a Greyhound bus station is always exceptionally dangerous because when people are released from prison, they are given their belongings and they're given a Greyhound bus ticket to go wherever they need to go. So at any given time, like probably at least half of the patrons on a Greyhound bus probably just got out of prison. Or maybe that's only in certain places. But yeah, there are a lot of shady people on the Greyhound bus.
Here we go. Waha says, I used to give rides, but I have stopped since after one crazy encounter. I picked up this young white dude who was probably around 20 to 25 on the outskirts of Memphis, headed south.
Is this you?
A white boy on the outskirts of Memphis, and I'm heading south.
I was on the way other side of Tennessee, not on that side. I was on my way home from work, so it was late in the afternoon. I typically stopped on the way home and got a six-pack. From time to time, I crack open a cold one for the ride since it was the better part of an hour.
You drinking and driving?
By the way, which is legal
It
in
is?
Tennessee. You can have an open can in your car in Tennessee because in Nashville, you know those bicycle things?
Yeah.
Like where you
Yeah.
ride and it's a bar and it's bicycle? They made open container legal because of that.
Because of that, but you can
can't,
drink and
so
drive?
you can have an open container in the car, but you can't have a BAC in the car. Like if you blew above 0.08, they'd be like, okay, you're done. That's a Dewey.
The young man said he had been hitching since California and was on his way to his sister in Florida with the job lined up at Disney. Oh, man. I asked him how his journey has been thus far, to which he started on why he left California. This is also when I realized this dude was a bat crap crazy and I needed to drop him off sooner rather than later. He tells me how his wife cheated on him with a lawyer and eventually left and divorced him for said lawyer. After the wife and lawyer teamed cleaned him off, he decided to get the F out of California as the lawyer was using his connections to try and get the dude thrown in jail. Then he described how the lawyer had hired private eyes and other non-savory types to try and entrap him as he crossed the country. He even said a helicopter followed him across most of Arkansas and had to travel at night to avoid being spotted by it. The further he got into the story, the more agitated he seemed to become. It was troubling, to say the least.
Yeah, as soon as I hear a one-man helicopter followed me across the entire state of Arkansas and I had to travel at night, I'm finding a way. I'm like, oh, I got to go the other direction. I can't go the direction you're trying to go. You got to get out of my car.
Please get out. That was a cool story. Oh, look, here's your stop. So, OP says, I always carried a pew-pew in my truck, and it was easily within reach, but I figured my best bet to avoid being stabbed by this dude was to out-crazy him.
Yes, let's. I want to see this. I want to see how crazy you can get.
This is a good tactical approach.
I would just start getting naked at this point.
I don't know about that tactical approach, but
I cracked open a brew, offered him one, and started with my story I was making up as I went. I told him I knew how he must feel having been cheated on. I went on that I'd been out of the joint for about 6 months and was adjusting well. He asked me what I was in for, and I told him I had gotten really wasted, blacked out, and when I came home, I went crazy with the box cutter on my ex and the dude she was cheating on me with. He got really quiet. Didn't really say anything else until we got to my town. I dropped him off at the truck stop near the interstate and never saw him again. Well, that was a tactic. Oh my gosh.
at that point, I don't know, you could have really miscalculated, and that guy could have been like, oh, well, I need to protect myself, so I'm going to go crazy on this guy. Because he just told me he sliced up his ex with a box cutter.
Yeah.
That is insane, and you should not do that. You needed to go like, yeah, man, I know what it feels like to get cheated on. I used to date a girl, she was an astronomer, and she would always tell me that the moon was real, and I always knew it wasn't. So once I realized she was a part of the conspiracy to get me to believe the moon was real, I had to leave her, man. It felt like I had gotten cheated on. Cheated on with the moon she cheated on me with.
What are you, Sokka?
At that point, I'd say anything. I feel like, you know, he's telling the story doesn't make him look good, but you'd have to say anything at that point to get him out of your car.
Whatever, but you got like an unstable, agitated dude next to you, and you tell him that you sliced somebody up with a box cutter? What?
It worked.
Like, I feel
It
like
worked.
the odds of him, that was a coin flip. That was either he gets quiet and shuts down, or he goes into survival mode and he tries to, like, you know, eliminate you while you drive the car.
Damn.
That's crazy.
The only hitchhiker story I can think of is when I was driving back from school from Arizona to back here. I stopped like right outside Coachella Valley to get gas, and this guy came up to me, and he was like a young guy, probably like a little older than me, like 20s, like mid-20s, and he's like, hey, you going back to California? And I said, yeah, I am. And he's like, oh, cool. Can I come with you? Like, just hitch a ride and everything. I was like, yeah, sure. Like, let's do that. And then before, like, I was getting snacks and everything, and like we went inside and I got him like some water. And then he just started saying some really crazy stuff, just like really out of pocket stuff. And I went, I don't think I can have this guy in my car. Like, this is just getting, it seemed very chill, seemed very cool. He was just saying really out of pocket stuff that
Weird.
I was like, how do I get out of
of
this?
pocket in what way?
Just very racial, interesting things where I'm like, ooh.
Oh, gotcha.
I went, So how do I get out of this? And crazy enough, like we like probably in the gas station for like 10 minutes. And I'm like trying to, how do I maneuver? How do I finagle out of this? He asked me after 10 minutes, like, hey, where are we going again? And I was like,
Nowhere.
I'm going to Arizona. And he went, oh, I'm trying to go to California. I guess, you know, thanks for all the snacks and everything, but I guess I can't go with you. And I went, yeah, sorry. I said, best of luck, man. And that was that.
Oh my
Wait a minute.
gosh.
Now I'm starting to think the guy who helped, this is his con. He's a pretend hitchhiker.
Dude, I
He
do not
acts
know.
chill. He gets free snacks, and then he goes crazy so he doesn't actually have to go.
Fine.
And he goes,
you know
wait,
what?
where are we going?
He conned me.
Yeah, no, I'm not going there.
He
no,
conned
thanks
me.
for the
He
snacks.
conned me for Doritos and a water. Great. I lost $4.
Yeah,
Great.
that's why he's like, I'm not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
It's only $4. I just need Doritos and a bottle of water.
I felt bad, but then I was like, I don't feel bad. Because this guy, the stuff he was saying, I was like, ooh, no. I don't want you in my car. I'm sorry.
I had to do that in the woods. Met a guy in the woods. Turned out to not be that cool. Thought he might be cool. Then he became really weird and crazy, and he had problems with his mom who lived down the street and was asking if we could give him a ride to San Francisco. I said, no. No, I can't. Good luck.
Yeah.
And he was persistent. He was like, oh, man, please, man, I can't. Like, I hate that. I got to say no to you, but I'm going to do that. And, maybe try to just, like, I don't know, figure out whatever's going on there back at home. Maybe try to go back home, Maybe try to figure that out.
Dude, this story does not make me look good. My hitchhiker story.
You want to tell it when you started off the basis of, this story doesn't make me look good?
It doesn't. I was headed to school around like 8 o'clock in the morning. And as I was heading to school, not even to my grandma's house, which was really close, there was a guy who was standing on top of his truck that was in a ditch sideways, and he obliterated my neighbor's mailbox.
With what?
His truck.
And he's standing on top of it sideways like it's
Yep.
like a sinking ship and he's Jack Sparrow.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
So he's standing on top of it. I go there and I'm like, hey man, what's up? What happened? He's like, I ran off the road, blah, 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 blah. Can you help me? And I was like, yeah, sure. Where do you need to ride to? He's like, can you go down the road next to this church? And I was like, great, I'll do it. So I got him in the car. I'll get him there.
Tater tot?
And then drop him off. And then I'm heading back. And as I'm heading back, my neighbor, like 3 cars stop. And I'm like, yo, what happened? They're like, someone hit this guy's mailbox. His name's Roger. Someone hit Roger's mailbox and then just left their truck here. And we can't find him. And I get quiet because I just helped that guy escape instead of calling the cops like I should have. And I was like, oh, dude, that sucks. I got to get to school.
You didn't tell him like, oh, yeah, I brought that guy to the church.
Well, I dropped him off at his buddy's house that was next to the church.
You can go get him.
So I drove off, and then I tell my parents, and they get so pissed at me. I didn't think about it. And I get worried all day. And then my dad comes to me later that day and says, hey, by the way, a cop came by and said they've been looking for a gray Prius that helped a convict who was drunk driving after high school get a ride.
Well, officer, I did not know he was a convicted criminal.
Officer, he was sober when I talked.
Your Honor, I was just trying to help my fellow man.
But it turns out that was a lie. My dad just used that as a scare tactic to not pick up any hitchhikers, which I no longer do.
That's crazy. Why your papa lied to you for being such a good boy?
I don't know. I should have just called the cops. He said the first second I saw him, he's like, don't call the cops, don't call the cops. And I was like, oh, no, I'll just give you a ride.
The first thing, what? That's on you.
Yeah,
Don't call the cops. Don't call the cops. Don't call the cops. Whatever you do, don't call the cops.
I was 17.
Don't tell mom. Don't tell mom. Don't tell mom.
Kimberly Fine says, I transported 2 drunk girls from the bar once, but made them lay in the bed of the truck. I knew them, though, and one in particular shrieks a dog whistle levels when drunk, and I'm not having that crap in a king cab, LOL. She's an outdoor human.
Nice way to flex the king bed truck.
Christian and I did that for our graduation. We were like at the bars, a little tipsy, and we were like, we have our gowns on, and we're like, we have to go to graduation, but there's going to be so much traffic and no parking. So we're like, we're just going to walk. Some lady was like, hey, are you guys going to graduation? And we're like, yeah. She's like, come on in. I'll drop you guys off. Wait, what? What?
What?
She's like, yeah. And she's like, I see you guys are drinking. Make sure you guys don't get seen. But yeah, and it was very sweet.
Damn.
DeFuzz says, I've never actually seen anyone with their thumb up on the side of the road before. Truthfully, I'd pick them up in a heartbeat if they were heading my direction, though. I see this guy who's riding his flat through Main Street towards the next biggest area in our suburb. Knowing the area, I pulled up next to him and asked him if he needed help. He said no, that he was just going to drive slowly up to the next gas station and fill up. I told him to wait here, and I drove ahead, found out there wasn't an air station at that gas station. I went back and told him, and insisted he pull out on the side of the road.
Probably a flat tire.
Yeah. I helped him change his flat tire, and we took that and his spare and loaded them up. I drove him to the closest gas station and helped him pump his tires up. No problem. Turns out he was there because he was in the area doing a job, upgrading the software at a hospital, and had stayed late to check in on his mother who was there in hospice.
Oh.
His wife was at some big meeting, and she was waiting on him to pick her up. Basically, his night would have been effed without someone to lend him a hand. The other time, I was dropping my then-girlfriend off at 3 in the morning after a rowdy boinking session, and we saw some poor guy get out of his car in nothing but a windbreaker and jeans, and it was windy as F, and it was February. After I dropped her off, I went back to swing along the expressway to try to find him to see if he needed help. I thought I'd lost him, but he was shivering his booty off all of 300 yards from where I'd last seen him. His buddy told him he'd go get him some gas, but he just pocketed this guy's $20 and bought some pot instead.
Oh my gosh.
What a loser. This crazy MFer was about to try and walk 4 miles through a snowy city to try to get back to his house. Poor guy wouldn't stop thanking me the whole ride. He even schmicked me out on the way. Only time I've ever been worried was when some kid literally ran up to my car and nervously asked me to drive him to his house because his girlfriend was in trouble or something. I hesitantly said, yes, I'm a sucker for a sob story, and drove him towards his house. It's just behind that giant superstore, the one that's closed. Yeah, just go around the back, near the drop-offs. Okay. Then we get there. He refuses to get out, basically just kept thanking me, then asked for money because his girlfriend needs medication. At this point, he's totally taking advantage of the kindness of a stranger, but I'm thinking, crap, this dude brought me behind an abandoned superstore in the worst part of town. Now he's got his seatbelt off in my car, and I don't doubt he would pull some kind of stabby object on me at any minute, judging by how desperate he was. He got out after I'd given him my emergency stash of small bills that I keep in my visor, but dang, never been so nervous to pick up a hitchhiker before. And that is the end of our stories.
Yay! That was crazy.
If you're going to be picking up hitchhikers, you need to learn Karjutsu, okay? Go watch Karjutsu.
Yes.
It's two men fighting in a car.
Mm-hmm.
Learn the techniques.
What's your first technique?
Seatbelt.
He gets it.
Seatbelt. Seatbelt now is my weapon.
Yep. Seatbelt around the neck. Hold the seatbelt down. Boom.
Hold the
Left
seatbelt and also stiff arm. Stiff arm head into the window. Stiff arm.
But guys, if you got any more crazy hitchhike stories or you have your own hitchhike story, please let us know down below. We'd love to read them. And that's the end of the story. If you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.
Hey, I know we're all very busy, but I just want to let you know we have more bonus stories you can listen to, so you might want to stay tuned for the next one.
Am I the a-hole for cutting off a longtime friend because she ate my husband's olives?
No.
My husband, Mitchell, 26 male, and I, 26 female, have this group of friends we hang out with. I knew them before I met my husband. It's a group of 6, excluding us, 5 males and 1 female. A few of them are siblings, but we're all close in age, 24 to 28. The members are Dalton, male 24, Jack, male 24, Lucas, male 27, Cole, male 26, Derek, male 28, and Ari, female 26. By the way, this comes from Aggressive Recipe 19, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I first met Dalton and Jack 8 or so years ago when we worked together at a fast food place in a small town we all lived in. They invited me over to hang out one night, and the rest was history. We all became best friends. When I started dating Mitchell, I introduced him to the group, and he fit right in. Throughout the years, we still hung out sometimes. It was months in between, but we still kept in touch through texts. Anyways, a few months ago, Derek invited us over for D&D. Heck yeah.
Hey, let's go.
And we've been playing a few days a week, every week since. Since Ari and I are the only 2 girls in the group, we like to hang out for a little while after our D&D sesh is over and gossip. Ari is Wiccan, and one night she offered to read my tarot cards. She started to give me a reading on my love life. At this point, I was already married to Mitchell. While she was reading, she started to choke up and get nervous.
Uh-oh.
Ari kept saying the cards were showing her a sad ending and adultery, and kept saying, "Are you sure you want to keep going?" Anyways, by the end, she had me fully convinced my husband was going to cheat on me and divorce me. I brushed it off because we've always been good. It'll be 7 years together, and he's amazing at communicating and sorting out our issues while being civil. Anyways, fast forward 2 weeks later, and it's Jack's birthday. We go out bar hopping. We're all about 3 to 4 drinks in and a few shots deep. Mitchell finishes his drink, so I go to the bar to order him and myself another. I notice while I'm up ordering, Ari is talking and laughing with Mitchell, which doesn't bother me because we've all been so close for so long. And I trust them both. It's taking me a while to get our drinks as the bar is packed. I just keep hearing Ari giggling. I'm getting excited, like, let's get these drinks going because I want to know what's so funny. Finally, I got the drinks. I got Mitchell a vodka tonic with extra olives, his favorite. When I get to them, silence. They stop giggling. No big deal. I give Mitchell his drink and head to the bathroom because I had to pee. I come back, they're giggling again. Ari puts her hand on Mitchell's hand on the drink glass and uses her other hand to grab the stick full of olives out of Mitchell's drink, looks him in the eyes, and sucks them off. Whoa.
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 I felt my face burn red hot. I'm really comfortable in a relationship, so it usually takes a lot for me to get jealous, but the liquor made me feel some type of way. I told Mitchell I wasn't feeling well and wanted to head out. So we went home and I brought up how her actions and him not stopping them made me uncomfortable. And he just brushed it off like it wasn't a big deal. The next day, I vented to my sister Jamie about it, and she said that it seems like the olive incident and the tarot card incident do not seem to be coincidental. Since she said that, I've been looking back on all the weird things I've overlooked the past few years. Ari always sitting next to him in D&D. Their characters always departing from the group and going off on side quests together. Always going out to smoke when Mitchell does, etc. So here we are 6 months later, and I've completely stopped all communication to Ari and the guys. A few of them have reached out asking to hang out, but I lied and said we're just super busy. Oh, I don't know if that's the best course of action. Mitchell and I were planning a party, and he suggested we invite Ari. It put me off. I asked why. He replied, well, she's your good friend. I told him I haven't talked to her since the olive incident, and she hasn't tried to reach out either. He said I'm an a-hole and looking too far into this. Now he's guilt-tripping me for cutting off contact. Am I the a-hole? And there is an update.
Wow.
We're going to get back to the story, but Sam, you have a copious amount of something.
What, John?
X's.
I have like 4 or 5 or 6.
I heard of 6 with a 0
All
behind
right,
it.
that 60 number, comes from somewhere else.
Where does that come from?
It comes from our OK Storytime membership.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Join a club almost as exclusive as Sam's X is. But let's get back to the story.
So it wasn't just space. She like actually
No,
did
she's cut off.
them
Yeah.
off.
Update. I spoke to Mitchell about Ari. Before I get to that, let me answer some questions. He was in the room while I was having my cards read. He just shook his head the whole time. He doesn't believe in tarot. I'm sorry. Wait. He was in the room while Ari was like, your husband is cheating on you.
What?
Y'all saying, how does she not have a phone? Everyone has a phone. Dude, we're from piss poor Midwest town. We're not privileged. I want to clarify that they've never been flirty before, ever. Not even a little. Ari has never even looked twice at Mitchell, and he doesn't seem to know she's there half the time. It's so out of the blue. That's why I feel like cutting her off is maybe like, I feel like there could have been a conversation.
I agree.
Now for the update. He said he swears that he is absolutely not having an affair. He only mentioned Ari coming to the party because he noticed I hadn't been speaking to her for a while, and that out of the whole group, her and I seemed the closest. He also apologized and said he did overreact about me cutting her off, but it was because he honestly didn't think it was that serious. He also mentioned that he didn't want to make a scene at the bar because it was packed, and he really didn't think it was that big of an issue, even though it seemed awkward. I asked him how he'd feel if one of the guys did it to me, and he said it'd be weird for sure. I asked about them always buddying up for smoking and D&D. He said he doesn't really notice them having more one-on-one time than anyone else. He said that he wished he didn't dismiss my issues right away and gave what felt like a genuine apology. It's good. Mitchell also suggested that I speak to Ari and tell her how her behavior made me feel. Communication.
Here we go.
So I messaged Derek and said I wanted to come over and hang with Ari. So that's where I'm going in a few hours. Literally shorting my pants as I'm not one for confrontation. So I'm hoping it will go well. And there is an update, so we're about to find out if it went well. Update 2. Last night, I went over to Ari's house to talk to her. When I got there, Ari was out, but Derek and the rest of the boys were home. Derek told me that Ari was out with her mom and would be back soon. I sat and had a beer with the boys. I apologized to them for being a crappy friend and for not seeing them for so long. Cole, Ari's F-buddy who has feelings for her but she doesn't reciprocate, asked me what was keeping me so busy. Honestly, I know he saw the aforementioned olive sucking and knew I had seen it, so I figured he wanted me to come clean, and I did. I told the guys everything that happened, from the tarot reading to the olives, and everything I started to think back on when having this revelation. Dalton started laughing at me. Derek put his face in his hands and said, "Oh my God." And Cole said, "What the F are you talking about?" Honestly, I was super confused by their mixed reactions and wanted to just leave. I said, "I know you saw her and Mitchell in the bar for Jack's birthday. Tell me that wasn't what I saw." And Cole said, "It wasn't like that. Ari isn't after Mitchell." I just got up and went to Ari's room to wait. I was hurt they just defended Ari and didn't try to hear me out. I scrolled through some responses on the post until I heard Ari get home about 20 minutes later. My stomach was in knots and I wanted to cry, realizing that Ari and Mitchell could have been fooling around behind my back this whole time. Ari was one of my best friends and things were so solid with Mitchell and I. Ari came into the room and sat next to me on the bed. Ari almost immediately folded and said, I know you're mad at me. The boys told me. I swear I'm not into Mitchell. It's not like that. So I asked her to explain what the F the reading and the olives and everything else was about. She just started to cry. It went from sadness to anger. I yelled at her to answer me. This is when crap got crazy.
Oh, man.
I felt really weird this past year or so. I'm just not into men. When we're with the guys, it just feels so natural. I don't know if I love men or something, but I realized with Cole that it's just not for me. She went on for a little longer about more personal things and even mentioned that she told the guys and was going to tell me, but she thought one of the guys told me she was, and I was mad at her about that. And that's why I ghosted her for 6 months.
6 months?
But that still didn't explain why she was being seductive towards Mitchell and the tarot cards.
Oh.
She claimed that when she read my cards, she read straight from the instructions in the box. So there's that. And that she was not meaning to be schmexy when she ate the olives. She was just wasted and wanted them. By the way, we want you to listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. I sat in silence. I was so confused. How could I be so horribly wrong? Then Ari reached over and grabbed my hand. I'd never do something like that to you. I said, I can't believe you think I'd be mad that you are gay. She said Cole was mostly hurt because Ari was into his sister. They'd been talking and that was what brought clarity into Ari's mind about not liking boys. So we have it, y'all. Anticlimactic AF, but I'm so glad my husband isn't cheating on me. At least with Ari. Some of you almost had me convinced though. LOL. But that is the end of that story.
My friend and I planned a joint birthday, but she thinks I'm overshadowing her.
Well, maybe you should step up.
For context, I, 29 female, have always known my friend Elle, 22 female, to be a birthdayzilla. She's always taken her big day very seriously and gets very distressed at the thought of not having a big, glorious day all about her. It also happens to be 13 days before my birthday. By the way, this comes from Feathered Chef, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit.
Do it.
Go on. So here's the situation. Me and Louisa's sister-in-law, we were planning to surprise Elle on her birthday by showing up at her house with a basket full of presents, treats, drinks, and the works. We told each other what gifts we'd bought so that everything followed Elle's aesthetic. All good. Elle suggested that since our birthdays are so close, we should pick a day between them to go out for a joint celebration. So far, my only plans for my 30th were to have a family dinner with my mom and the tribe, followed by cocktails at my place, so I agreed. Happy for the extra thoughts. Plans were made to go for dinner, go shopping, visit our favorite crystal store for a fun workshop, which I promptly booked and paid a deposit for, and end with some drinks. Here's where I may have messed up. Foolishly, I invited my fiance and a 2-year-old to the dinner portion of the day. I checked with the girls first and they both agreed it was fine. However, later, Elle got in touch to set me straight. I was told the day out was actually Elle's big day, not a joint celebration. Now, I was ruining the vibe of her big girls' day by inviting my family to dinner. Whoa. Knowing what Elle is like with her birthday and not wanting it to turn into something nasty, I apologized for getting my wires crossed, told my fiance he was no longer invited, and adjusted my view of the day. Not minding at all since I already had birthday plans after all, and sister-in-law coincidentally DM'd me and let it slip that they were supposedly planning a surprise party for me. She also said that this year, but nothing got planned. So no problems, right? Wrong! The next day, I start getting a barrage of angry texts from Elle and sister-in-law. Dozens of accusations, including, but not limited to, I was trying to overshadow Elle with all my birthday plans, that I was an inconsiderate B who hadn't planned anything for Elle and didn't care that her dad had fell into eternal sleep, oh boy, and that I offered no compromise for the girls' day out, that I planned on stealing from Elle, that my gifts for Elle were too cheap, and that I said horrible, disgusting things about Elle and must be having one of my episodes. Honestly, I have no idea where most of it came from, and it was all really hard to follow. But anytime I asked for a clear explanation of the problem, I kept getting told to reread my messages and see for myself. They picked apart every flaw I had, even down to how absent I've been during my recent struggle with postnatal PTSD. I tried to explain my side and apologize for my confusion, but they were having none of it. I think it was the no compromise that confused me the most. I'd put so many plans on hold to accommodate Elle's big day out and Elle's plans for my birthday that I failed to see what I didn't compromise on. I canceled plans for my first Valentine's Day as an engaged couple and a holiday abroad for my 30th birthday. So this bee didn't feel like I was trying to outshine her while she's grieving her dad's passing. Wow. Yeah, that's like another level that you just brought into it too.
Yeah.
They wore my patience down until I finally snapped, gave them a piece of my mind, and blocked them both. It kind of bothers me how out of the blue this was, though. So am I the a-hole, or are my friends just toxic?
Really freaking toxic, man.
Insanely
Really
toxic.
freaking toxic.
Dude.
Like, sure, she's going through, a very hard thing with her dad's passing, but
Yeah.
also you just had a baby.
Yeah.
You just had a baby.
Yes.
Like,
And
you're not
going
going to
through
be.
your own stuff.
Yeah, and also she just fully miscommunicated what she wanted.
100%.
One, and also you're not going to be able to give the same amount of focus and stuff into friendships when you just had a baby.
Yeah. But there are some comments. Comment number 1 says, you need to ditch the toxicness of these two. She told you it was going to be a joint thing, and then suddenly, no, it's not. Then you canceled your own birthday plans so as to not outshine her. WTF. Go have a massive party with all of your friends and family, minus those two, and live your best life. Leave their petty, insecure jealousy behind you and find your friends who aren't awful people. You didn't overshadow anything. Comment says, it sounds like either sister-in-law is a worm in her ear, lying her butt off, or they are both toxically jealous. Either way, not good friends to keep. OP responded, I very much got that vibe during the argument. A lot of what Elle said didn't line up with the convo I was having with sister-in-law. Even her first message was claiming I'd said something to sister-in-law that was offensive and aimed at Elle.
John, you've been dancing a lot.
I'm going to give you a live demonstration and you're going to see it too.
Show me those hips. Oh, damn. That is a good move. But you know what is also an amazing move?
What is that, Sam?
Becoming an OK Storytime member.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Well, let's get back to the story.
The only time I spoke even slightly negatively was well into the argument when I pointed out to sister-in-law that twice now they'd let slip that they wanted to throw me a surprise party and then planned nothing. Something that hadn't bothered me at all until I was told that I wasn't doing enough for her. I just wanted to point out that what doing nothing actually was. Boom. Update. Woo! Honestly, didn't think I'd be updating this. I haven't unblocked Elle or her sister-in-law and have had such a peaceful week, keeping my head down and looking up mom and toddler groups to take my son to so we can both meet some new friends. Amazing. It's worth noting that I didn't take the time to block Elle across all media. It really is less effort to ignore her than it is to go through everything I had her added on and block her. I also figured I wouldn't need to know how fast you removed me from every group chat and shared gaming world. Now, earlier today, I shared a post on Facebook that I felt resonated with my current circumstances. It's the only thing I've posted that relates to what happened with me and Elle. Lo and behold, a few hours later, I got 3 WhatsApp messages from Elle. Out of pride and principle, no matter how curious I got, I haven't opened them.
Nice.
However, in the drop-down notification, I got the first few words of her message. So you're calling me a snake? ... Referencing my post.
Ooh, that would be hard to not read.
That would absolutely be hard. I'd just be like, oh my God, what's this crazy girl
What's
saying
this
now?
girl saying?
I missed the notification for the second message and the third that an image had been sent. I told my fiance about it. We had a laugh, and out of curiosity, he checked his Facebook to see if he was still friends with Elle or if she'd blocked him. Sure enough, same as me, he had been unfriended but not blocked. Sister-in-law still has us both added as friends. We took this as confirmation that they were keeping it open to creep in the shadows, and we laughed some more. Then he noticed several posts Elle had made, clearly with me in mind. Cut to about an hour ago, I was talking to my son's godmother on Discord and sending her a video of my son when I noticed WhatsApp did my curiosity a solid. There, in my gallery, were 2 images I didn't recognize. I knew right away that they must have been downloaded from Elle's message. They look like screenshots from TikTok, and they speak along the same lines as the posts she'd made on Facebook. By the way, we're always posting full episodes of stories just like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. Just search OK Storytime. I kind of feel like an a-hole for saying this, but all I could think of when I read them was how ironic it was that she was sending them to me. During what I'm calling the blowout, I asked so many times what the problem was and where it was all coming from. Tried calling and tried again the next day when things had calmed down. Even said I wanted to apologize for some of my heat of the moment nastiness. But every call was rejected, and I was told that they didn't want to speak to such a horrible, disgusting person. That Elle had done nothing wrong, and it was all my fault for trying to overshadow her. So why are you trying to text me then, girl? What's going on? What's going on? Dude, that's crazy. There's still more to this, but like, oh my gosh. Why is it such a big deal
I don't
that
know.
she's trying to overshadow?
Yeah. It's her birthday too. It's literally her birthday too.
Literally.
It's your 22nd birthday. That's like the least important birthday.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I didn't even realize the age difference.
Yeah.
Too. This whiny
Well, actually,
little
it's
brat.
just your 23rd birthday.
Yeah.
Nothing important happens on 23rd.
Yes.
30th? That's a pretty big birthday.
It's a huge birthday.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. OP, I'm impressed by how much effort you're putting into this.
Yeah.
I'd be gone.
Gone.
I'd be like,
Bye.
okay, cool.
I'm out of here.
I said my apology. You have a great birthday.
You have a good day.
Honestly, I'm not looking to let this bother me or change my mind. And it's been a laugh knowing I've been living in her head rent-free all month while I'm over here moving on. I thought you guys would appreciate the tea. And that's the end of the story.
My friend destroyed my vision. I'm half blind now, but she doesn't care.
Oh my goodness.
I'm 26 female in dental school right now, and my friends and I went to play badminton at school. I was with one partner and we were playing really well. Then we wanted to rotate partners, so I got paired with a girl. I'll call her Dana. She doesn't really play sports, but it seemed like she really wanted to be my partner, so I said sure. By the way, this comes from LevelGur4795, and if you want to submit your stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, while playing, we bumped into each other a lot. I don't think she's very good at sports. When I called on the birdie, she would still go for it. Long story short, we collided once more, but this time she swung her racket directly on my eye. I lost my vision for 2 hours and I went to the ER.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
just gray, nothing else. That's so scary. But she was laughing the entire time.
What the heck?
I feel like it was nervous laughter. I tried to stay calm and positive just because all my friends were there. We're also going to be in the same class for the next 4 years, and I didn't want to create tension. Either way, I noticed the entire time she was just laughing. She went to the ER with me, but she was still kind of nervously laughing. I had to go to the ophthalmologist next morning at 8 a.m., and the tests they did on me were uncomfortable and painful.
Oof.
It made me think about how I'm spending the one day during dental school where I could have taken a break. Instead, I spent it there, and I was dilated that I couldn't study the entire day. Everything was blurry for about 7 hours. Doctor said I have damage on my retina and some bleeding in the back of my eye. Oh my God.
Yikes.
My vision should return in 1 to 4 months, but there's a risk this vision loss could be permanent. And then there was a get together with the same friends, and she was there. She was laughing the entire time again and joked about my eye too.
Read the freaking room.
Oh my
dude.
God. I'd be like, actually, I might never get my vision back, so
Yeah.
it's not really a joke.
Yeah.
She doesn't seem to understand the severity of the situation, and it irks me. Now I want to ask her for compensation, cover all my Uber fees going to and from the hospital, and my optometry appointment fees. I didn't go to class today because my eye didn't feel great, and I didn't want to see her face either. Today, she went for sushi with her classmates, and I saw the group photo, and she's smiling so widely, it bothered me even more. So funny. I was like, she was smiling, just too happy. I don't really know how to handle the situation. I don't want to create drama or tension. I also don't want to affect my relationships with my other friends in our friend group. But I'm effing pissed, man, and scared that this could be permanent. How do I continue this friendship? I don't know how to handle this. I don't think her parents know either. I didn't tell my parents because they're going on a Europe trip and I don't want to worry them when they finally got a vacation. I just feel stuck. And there is an update. OMG, I did not expect this post to gain so much attention. I'm trying my best to read everyone's comments, so sorry if I don't respond. Just as an update, I reached out to Dana, as some of you have suggested, and I asked her to compensate. Whoop, whoop, good. I told her I wish to keep good relations with her and that I like to be transparent about my situation. I told her that I have been paying everything out of pocket, which has not been easy.
John, we're going to get back to the story, but I got to tell you, I've been loving these pearls that I got in Colombia.
You are a delicious beaded man now.
I do feel more confident at the very least, but I think these pearls pale in the amount of confidence an OK Storytime membership can get you.
That's right. You get 60 plus hours a month of exclusive live stream content. That's advice that'll make you the best version of yourself.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Crack open that oyster and get the blues. But let's get back to the story.
And it's been a difficult time for me because this vision loss has been affecting my mental state as well. She said, yeah, of course. Let me know how much and I can send you what you need. And then she sent me $200, even though I didn't ask for any amount. Seems probably not enough to cover everything. She said that should be enough for now. For some reason, her response felt empty. It felt more like she was compensating for broken glasses. It sounded like she wanted to send the money and end it there. But at least I know that she's open to pay for the fees. For the past few days, she's been going out, eating sushi with friends, apple picking, and having a lot of fun. She seems unaffected. I don't need her to drop on her knees apologizing her heart out, nor do I need her to give me special treatment, but I'm not sure if this is appropriate to the situation. If I hit my friend in the eye to the point where she had to go to the ER and lost half her vision, I would feel extremely worried. I don't think I'd be able to think about going out, but that doesn't seem to be the case for her. I told my close friends about it, and they said the same. I know some of you have mentioned something similar as well. So emotionally, I decided not to see her or treat her as a friend anymore, just as a classmate. I saw some of your comments on that, and you're right. She doesn't seem like a friend at all. It's been a really hard past couple of days. I can't see well in low light. My right eye vision would have a dark blind spot, but in bright lights, it seems okay, just blurry. Adjusting to this has been hard, and it's been harder trying to figure out how to tell my family afterwards. So I really, really appreciate everyone's support and encouragement. It warms my heart. And it brings me hope that things will get a lot better. Today, I went to my family optometrist just as a checkup, and the optometrist said that I will be okay and I have nothing to worry about. He also saw the blood inside the back of my eye and that I will have visual impairment for about a month or so. Fortunately, he already sees signs of healing. That's great.
Good.
That's
I'm
great.
So relieved.
Yeah, me too.
Wow.
My eye starts to hurt if I use it too much, though, probably because it's trying to adjust to the dark areas that cover the top half of my vision. I've been keeping that eye closed when it starts to hurt, so I plan to use an eye patch to relieve some of that fatigue. Good. Unfortunately, I have to wear that during class as well. I'm really glad to hear that this will only be temporary. I was upset about why this happened to me, but perhaps it was an early warning sign to stay away from Dana. I usually try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but I'm not sure if she deserves it. To be honest, I don't know if I want her $200 anymore. It feels like dirty money to me. So maybe I'll just send it back to her. I might update more later. Thank you everyone for now. And there is a second update.
I don't even want to know.
Yeah, honestly, just like cut off Dana. She seems like, eh.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, I'm not sure how feasible it is to sue Dana. As a dental student with a lot of student debt, I don't think I'd be able to afford it. And perhaps this would be something to do if I lose my vision permanently rather than the state I am in right now. Unless anyone has any further advice on this subject. I mean, I honestly think like if you're thinking about suing, just ask her, like bill her, you know?
Yeah. Like,
do that first before going through all the lawyer stuff.
Yeah. And then just like threaten. Be like, hey, this is how much it costs because of what you did.
Yeah.
If you don't pay this, like, I'm gonna sue you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
it'll be way more expensive.
But there is a third update. I read some of the more recent comments and I see some people saying to take the money and get over it or to stop stalking her on social media. I'd like to clarify the photos that I'm seeing are ones she's been sharing in our friend group chat. I have not looked at her social media, nor am I interested. I think the main thing that like honestly the going out with friends, all that stuff is not like really the dead giveaway for me. It seems like Dana hasn't checked in with OP at all.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if I hurt someone, I'd be like every day I'd be like, oh my God, like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Can I give you a ride to the you know?
Yeah, she's literally
Like,
like
it seems
gone
like-
to multiple doctors.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, she hasn't heard anything
Yeah.
from Dana. Not really.
It's been 3 days since the accident. I've spent 3 days at the hospital, ophthalmologist, and optometry clinic. I've missed out on the events and hangouts that were organized by my friends and school due to my eye, where she went to every single one. Even on the night of the accident, I also haven't been able to study or attend class. So she's been sharing how much fun she's been having with her classmates, which makes me question why she's trying so hard to make me feel left out, because she didn't really share photos before. Again, I am aware that this was an accident. I don't need her life to end or be miserable. I don't need her to mourn or drop to her knees and apologize or anything. I just wonder about her intentions. They don't seem great. I don't need her to be guilt-ridden, but I would have wished for my friend to at least be concerned about me. I did not expect my friend to laugh when she hit me, laugh when I said I couldn't see through that eye, laugh or gossip while we were at the ER, or still go out having fun, even at the night of, and post photos consistently in our group chat while I was spending those past few days going to the hospital and clinics, worried that this was going to be permanent. Again, I don't need her to feel super guilty, cry for days, not live her life, but just as a friend, I would have hoped for her to still be there for me. And her actions felt a bit insensitive for the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I see some mixed responses as well. It seems to range from suing her, forgetting about it, or ending her dental career. I think I'll just stick with communicating with her privately for now and see how everything goes.
Sounds good.
But you can communicate with us by watching full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. Just search up OK Storytime. And in terms of her money, I could just keep it like some of you mentioned. Just thinking about the future and long term, though, I hope that the $200 isn't used against me by her. I think that's my biggest concern. Some people in the comments raise concerns whether she's a true friend or not, so I'd like to be cautious. Not being able to see through half of my eye has been scary and an adjustment. I called my parents today and told them my situation, and they got really worried. But I told them I was okay and was able to end the conversation well. So I'm glad that part went okay. I appreciate everyone's feedback, and that is the end of that story.